everyone, I am Dr. J. Suresh Goud, Associate Professor in Department of Mathematics, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today, we are going to discuss the different type of definitions on test of hypothesis. 1. Test of hypothesis for large samples. What are the different type of definitions? In this, we are going to discuss now. The first definition is, what is the population? State the definition of population. Population means the collection of all objects is known as a population. The collection of all objects is known as a population. What is the example of population? Suppose the students in a college, the total number of students in a classroom, we may treat as population. We may treat as population. The students in class, or the goods prepared in a company, also we can treat as population. Because all the goods prepared in a company, that is nothing but one of the object. We are collecting all the objects. The collection of all objects is known as a population. This population we can divide into two parts. One is finite population and second one is infinite population. Finite means limited. If the collection of objects are limited or finite or countable, we can call as, that is called finite population. Suppose the students in a classroom. How many students regularly in a classroom? 60 members. Is it countable? Yes, it is a countable. It is a finite. So such a type of populations are known as finite population. So example for finite population, the students in a class. What is infinite population? That means it is not countable. It is not limited. It is not finite. Example, goods. Goods prepared in a factory, we can treat as infinite population. We can treat as infinite population. Why? Because every day the goods are preparing. It may be counted or may not be counted. Day wise it is increasing only. That's why such type of populations are known as infinite population. I think you understood clearly about the difference between finite and infinite populations. Right? So we discussed clearly population. Now, what is meant by sample? Sample means it is a part of the population or subset of the population is called a sample. Suppose, I will explain you with the example. The students in a classroom, if you treat as the students in a classroom are 60 members, if you treat this is a population, I want to choose only 5 students from this class, 2 boys and 3 girls. Total how many? 5 students I chosen from the class. If you see, this 5 is subset of 60 or not? This 5 is part of the 60 or not? Yes, it is a subset of 60. It is a subset of students in a classroom. It is a subset of a population. That's why This is the number of students 5 are sample because it is a subset of a population. This sample also divided into two parts. One is small samples and second one is large samples. When the sample is small and when the sample is large, it depends on the size of the sample. It depends on the size of the sample. Suppose if sample size, actually sample size is denoted by small a, the symbol. Population size is denoted by capital A. Always, you should remember. If the sample size is less than 30, like the students in a classroom, we have chosen 5 students from the class, that is small sample because the size of the sample is only 5, which is less than 30. If the size of the sample is less than 30, then it is called small sample. Suppose if the size of the sample is greater than or equal to 30, it is 30 or more than 30, we can call such type of samples are known as large samples. Okay. What is the sampling? See, as of now, we discussed population, example 60 students in a classroom, and we have discussed sample, example we discussed the 5 students in a class. What is sampling? The process of choosing samples from the population. The process of choosing samples from the population is known as sampling. What is the process? It's a very simple. I chosen 2 girls and 3 boys. That is the process. I want to choose only boys if I mention. That is one of the process. I want to choose only the students more than 90 marks. I want to choose the 5 students as a sample from the population. Those who got more than 90 marks. That is the process. So that process of choosing samples from the population is known as sampling. We can call as sampling. What is sampling distribution? What is sampling distribution? The set of all possible samples is called sample distribution. The set of all possible samples is called sampling distribution. We'll see how we can define the sampling distribution. See, 5 numbers are there. 3, 6, 9, 5, 12. I want to choose a sample of size 2. Sample of size 2 without replacement. How? 3, 6, 3, 9, 3, 5, 3, 12, 3, 3, like that. 6, 3, 6, 9, 6, 6, 6, 9, 6, 5, 6, 12, like that. 9, 3, 9, 6, 9, 9, 9, 5, 9, 12. Next 5, 3, 5, 6, 5, 9, 5, 5, 5, 12. Last 12, 12, 3, 12, 6, 12, 9, 12, 5, 12, 12. Because samples are. These are the possible samples. The set of all possible samples. The set of all possible samples is called sampling distribution. Is called sampling distribution. Now, what is the next definition? State the meaning of the level of significance. What is the level of significance? See, The level of significance is defined as the probability of rejecting a null hypothesis by the test when it is really true. Even it is true, if you rejecting the probability of rejecting a null hypothesis, the probability of rejecting a null hypothesis by the test when it is true, that is called level of significance. Actually, what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is any statement about the population parameter. Suppose if I give one statement about the students in a classroom. All the students in our classroom are intelligent. This is the statement I passed. Is it true? That we don't know. Is it true or false? But I passed the statement. So such type of any statement we can call as hypothesis. Suppose if I take one more example. The majority of men in the city are smokers. This is a general statement I passed. Is it true or false? We don't know as of now. But I passed the statement. That statement about what? About the smoking, about the population parameter. That statement is called hypothesis. Is that statement is true or not? We are going to follow the procedure which is called test of hypothesis. We are going to test whatever the statement you passed. Is it true or false? That is called test of hypothesis. The decision-making procedure to accept or reject the hypothesis is nothing but test of hypothesis. And this hypothesis we divided into two parts: null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. What is the meaning of null hypothesis? It is the hypothesis which is tested for possible rejection under the assumption that it is true. That means whatever the statement you passed, we are going to assume in null hypothesis that the statement is true. What is alternative hypothesis? Which is against to null hypothesis. That means whatever the statement you passed, we are going to reject that statement. So the null hypothesis which is defined as H0 and alternative hypothesis which is defined as H1. These two hypotheses are just our assumptions. We are going to assume the statement is true. We are going to assume the statement is false. That is the difference between null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Now, interpret the type 1 and type 2 errors. I'll explain you type 1 error and type 2 error. The statement is passed. Now by using our test of hypothesis procedure, I reject the statement. That means it's not. Even it is true. That is called, there is an error in our procedure. That is called type 1 error. Type 2 error, reverse side. Accept when it is false. Whatever the statement is, the false statement I taken, even though I accept it. Even though I accept it. That means there is also an error in our procedure, test of hypothesis. Such type of error is known as type 2 error. Type 1 and type 1 error is reject H0 when it is true. Type 2 error is accept H0 when it is false. Okay, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.